You can hate on them all you want. E-bikes are here to stay. With their ability to go faster than you would with just legs, it's really no wonder. To say that most folks will be rocking an e-bike in the near future is also an understatement. There are plenty of automotive and motorcycle manufacturers that are picking up on this trend. Most of them are even making it their day job to offer delicious and electrified goods. So, we're here to explore a little bit of what the hell is going on. Grab your helmets and let's take a ride. Ladies and gentlemen, first on our list is BM Forgot I Have Turn Signals W. Yes, the same BMW that saw its beginnings in 1916 and is responsible for machines like the iconic E30, M3, M1, and 328. Nonetheless, in today's modern lineup, the Bavarian powerhouse features not one, not two, but 7 bicycles, of which 2 are electric. Yep, and if that's not enough, they even have a kid's bike on the list. The battle of the brands starts at a very young age in the automotive world. And it isn't just children that are getting the best of BMW. Fully mature adults too, from bikes designed for city streets to ones for the outskirts of town. All have a place under the BMW umbrella. I even noticed that BMW offers a bike for gravel riding, proving to us that they are keeping up with current trends. After all, this automotive giant couldn't pass up the opportunity to rake in some extra bucks from a growing market. Prices for these BMWs range from $295 for the kids bike to around $1,000 for the city and road bikes. So rather accessible, nothing too wow. But these aren't electric. The E-Monsters they offer start at $2,330. Again, rather affordable if you ask me. The only goldfish in this pond is the gravel bike, which is built by 3T and costs $5,120. And it's not even electric. That's more in line with BMW pricing. However, for 2023, BMW and 3T are stepping up their game. With that said, behold, 3 new machines for the electric age. This includes an urban e-bike, a gravel e-bike, and an electrified road rager too. These start at $5,440 for the urban and gravel trinkets and max out at $6,120 for the road rager. Yes, Porsche is losing all of its iconic sound with their very own e-bikes. Yet another German powerhouse to join this ever-growing electric movement. Now, this is Porsche we're talking about, and they seem to be approaching this industry from a slightly different angle. While BMW is busy shaking hands with other manufacturers to build their e-wheelers, Porsche is buying entire companies. They're doing this to expand their empire. Just last year, they purchased Fazwa, a manufacturer of one hell of a drivetrain. Their lineup includes just 2 electric machines, the Cross and the Sport. And while Fazwa is under Porsche rule, Shimano is actually the manufacturer supplying the electronics. Considering that Porsche doesn't have the assembly lines necessary to craft such monstrosities, they too are calling upon the powers of established cycling giants. In this case, Rottwild, a crew that's been building mountain bikes since 1996. Looking closely at the Cross and Sport, the Rottwild biking heritage is clearly visible. Each trinket is equipped with Fox suspension components and a frame design with a shock integrated into the top tube. If you've seen this feature on other bikes before, it's commonly spotted on cross-country machines. I also need to point out that these things are not cheap. The least expensive of the bunch, the Cross, costs in with a price tag of no less than $9,500. How much do you think the Sport is going for? And $11,750. What does this mean for people like me and you? Well, it means that Porsche reserves its right to select their customers, apparently based on nothing more than just budget. I'm sorry, these things are more expensive than bikes built by Trek, a crew that builds Tour de France machines for world-class athletes. I'm not a world-class athlete. Nonetheless, my discussions with Porsche reveal no signs of slowing down. Be prepared to see more Porsche bicycles and cycling gear in the near future. Up next, another industry Goliath in on the e-bike action is none other than Mercedes. Yes, people, this timeless brand is hitting the market with electrified wonders that you should be aware of. However, Mercedes decided they don't want to import the frames for their bikes. No, they're handling this business themselves. Members of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 and Mercedes-Benz EQ Formula E design and build each unique bike, helping them to stand out from anything else you've seen on the streets. Honestly, that's one way to ensure quality and offer EVs that are easily identifiable, even if the brand emblem isn't visible. So, what's in store for humans like you and me? Well, quite a whole lot actually. Unlike Porsche, I noticed that Mercedes two-wheelers are priced all over the board, ensuring that this crew takes hold of as many customers as possible. Bikes are priced at a mere $2,000 for the City Racer e-bike and up to $5,800 for a dual-motor championship edition e-bike. Yet, Mercedes feels obliged to whip out a proverbial unicorn too, the Mercedes-AMG F1 V13 rolling chassis. Damn, that's a lot of name. $7,500 of aerodynamic carbon fiber limited to only 500 pieces ever. They're even hand-painted for God's sake. Oh, and this thing isn't even electric. It's just a road bike that weighs 16.2 pounds. Seems like owning a Mercedes is a whole lot easier than we thought. By now, you understood that the automotive industry is active in this growing trend. But where does that leave motorcycle manufacturers? After all, it makes sense for these teams to be on the front lines of this industry. Let me put things this way. If there were no motorcycle manufacturers on this scene, we wouldn't be talking right now. With that said, let me point out the first crew we'll be exploring. I'll give you a hint. Potato. Yes, Harley-Davidson. Unlike automakers like BMW, Mercedes, and Porsche, for a vehicle manufacturer like HD to be building e-bikes is really in the cards. It's basically self-explanatory. They even built an entire brand for these electric machines, Serial 1. And so, we begin our exploration into the 6 e-bikes available to us. Mind you, they're also on their second generation, so things are clearly moving forward. What does the mighty Potato have in store for people like us? Well, they seem to really want to stick to selling motorcycles because the least expensive e-bike in their lineup sells for $3,800, the Mosh CTY. Then there's the Bash MTN, which stands for Mountain, selling at $4,000. And things go on like this for another 4 e-bikes, 6 in total. The most expensive bike available to US customers seems to be the Rush CTY Speed, selling for $5,600, whereas European citizens can drop up to €6,300 on a Mosh Tribute two-wheeler. Luckily for us, I've personally tested one of these buggers, and I must say, there's a whole bunch of Harley D packed into each one. And for an e-bike, that's not necessarily a good thing. Sure, the bikes feel solid, nothing vibrates, nothing clinks, but that doesn't matter over the noise that Bro's motor puts out once it's activated. It's potato all over again. And I wonder if Harley-Davidson would try and trademark this acoustic element too. Nonetheless, that noise is accompanied with more than enough power to help you fly around town. 66 foot-pounds of torque are directed to a Gates carbon belt drivetrain. Shifting is typically handled by an Enviolo automatic gearbox. Regarding the joy of speed, hands down, no problems whatsoever for this brand, and probably one of the reasons why customers are buying some of these left and right. The Switch MTN, for example, is sold out on the Serial 1 website. If Harley-Davidson sees potential in this growing industry, why don't you? As we can see, it makes a whole lot of sense for motorcycle manufacturers to make an entrance into the e-bike industry. With that in mind, let's look at yet another two-wheeler brand that's really hitting the e-bike sauce. Yes, none other than Ducati. Again, it's really a natural move for companies like this to get into e-bikes, and so here we go. Ducati's approach to this industry is very similar to that of Porsche. How? Well, Porsche doesn't have any bicycle building hardware, and neither does Ducati. So, they're working with Toc Bikes, a crew with some very serious machines that was founded back in 2017. Since this team is also from Italy, it's no wonder Ducati asked for their help in supplying the market with e-bikes. Currently, the Ducati lineup includes an all-mountain range, an enduro range, and most recently, they've introduced 2 electric roadworthy monsters. In all, 5 machines are bearing the Ducati colors, and this crew too is continually coming out with updated models. While I dove a bit deeper to understand what's going on with the Ducati lineup, I noticed that Shimano is the crew powering the Mountain Goats with an EP8 setup. But the road e-bikes are using a component manufacturer I've never encountered, FSA. It's short for full speed ahead. If we note that this manufacturer has been tinkering with road and mountain bikes since 1992, it sounds like Ducati is in good hands. As for what sort of prices to expect from the famed group,
$1 million.
you need to first remember what this brand stands for. So I'm trying to butter you up for having to dish out $5,500 for the least expensive of the 5 EVs. That's the MiG S mountain bike. The most expensive of the bunch? Wait for it. $12,000. That would be the Futa Limited, of which only 50 units will ever be built. You better get them while they're hot. Feels like Ducati is nice and ready to hit this industry with everything it's got. Not to mention that they also make e-scooters. Check out that video here. A few other companies active in this industry include Jeep, Peugeot, and even Volkswagen. Yeah, Jeep has one e-bike, and it's a monster if you ask me. Peugeot has been making and racing bikes since my granddad's days, and Volkswagen is, well, Volkswagen with a sort of, hey, I'm here too. They've built a cargo bike. If you have any questions about whether or not e-bikes are going to be a thing, I'm sure these 5 automotive and motorcycle manufacturers should wipe away all doubt. At the end of the day, these teams aren't the only ones in on this trend, but all of them are aimed at nothing more than your cash. The good news is that you no longer need to have tens of thousands of dollars to own your very own BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, Harley-Davidson, or Ducati vehicle. Yes, vehicle, because we can't call them cars now, can we?